So, one thing you'll see on most of these slides, I have a background. I won't explain to you what the background is until the end, so it's a game you can play, figure out what the heck I'm doing with this background. Like, why do I have the warden from Shawshank here on mental approach to training? What's going on? Anyways, the first thing dealing with training, above all, more important than workout volume, workout quality, intensity, anything, is just consistency. Just showing up every day or every, 6 days a week or 5 days, whatever your schedule is that works with your life, stick to it. There's no single workout. You could go out and have some epic session, go run 20 miles at 6:10 pace or, whatever, just something bananas like that. That's still not going to have the same training benefit as just going out and running 7 miles a day every day for 3 weeks in a row. It just isn't. The body responds to frequency in terms of, the whole stress, recover, adapt cycle, and also in terms of training your nervous system to be efficient, firing the right muscles, using the right movement patterns. It all comes back to consistency. And obviously, to hit consistency, one, you have to set up a schedule that is actually realistic for your life. If you have a coach, don't go to your coach and say, oh, yeah, I can totally train 20 hours a week when only 12 hours a week is actually realistic. Because you're just setting yourself up for very inconsistent training and you're setting yourself up for failure. So you have to be realistic about your logistical schedule constraints. And then the other part of consistency is obviously health. One of my real mantras is I always like to say, don't let a 2-week injury become a 2-month injury. So if something hurts, stop doing things that aggravate it. I know that sounds simple. I know that sounds very basic, but you'd be amazed, absolutely amazed at how many triathletes I deal with and I know that just are bullheaded and they get panicky about missing 2 workouts and they run themselves into the ground and then all of a sudden they end up having to take 8 weeks off. It is always better to nip injuries in the bud. And a conservative approach is essentially never wrong. There might be better approaches, like an aggressive approach can work out, but a conservative approach is always going to work out. And so that's just something you're going to have to settle between you and your coach. And if your coach says, listen, homie, I really think you need to back off, just go with it because they're looking out for your best interests. And as I said, conservative approach is never wrong. And this comes back to this first point I have. Everyone deals with injuries. Pick a star triathlete, Jan Frodeno, Craig Alexander, Daniela Reef, Marinda Carfrae. They've all been injured. But you know why they're good? Because they come back from injuries. One, they deal with the injuries in a mature fashion. They say, this is what's hurt. This is what I can do. This is what I can't do. This is my timeline to healing. This is my timeline to when I can race again. This, yada, yada, yada. And that's how you appropriately deal with it. Inappropriately dealing with it is trying to force yourself and train your way through the injury and making it worse. Or B, panicking and saying, you come back, say you get healthy, and there's a temptation to say, oh, I got to make up for 4 weeks of missed training. I got to do this. I got to do that. Well, all you're going to do is run yourself into the ground and possibly injure yourself again. Your body decides when you're healed. Your race schedule doesn't decide when you're healed. Your training schedule doesn't decide when you're healed. Your body does. So you just have to listen to it and take what it will give to you. And if you do that, you can achieve some pretty darn good consistency. And now along those lines, in terms of health, I'm pretty flexible with my athletes when it comes to swimming and biking. I'm not flexible with running. This is because of the injury risk associated with running. Whereas swimming and biking, honestly, it's pretty hard to really injure yourself. Obviously, you can. You can have overuse strain injuries or muscle pulls or tears in anything. I'm just talking about generalizations. In general, swimming and biking are much lower injury risk than running is. So that's why I'm a lot looser on swimming and biking. And This all goes back to maximize your potential, consistency, and health. These are literally the two cornerstones. Without this, nothing else matters. And back to this, the Shawshank Warden. Why do I have this picture here? Think of Andy Dufresne. How did he break out of Shawshank? Patience and persistence. He just had a little rock hammer tapping away at a hole in the wall for 18 years. He didn't get greedy. He didn't try to, do too much in a day. He didn't try to steal a bigger hammer and use that and get caught. He said, this is a system. I know it works, and I know it will get me where I want to be. And however, 18 years, it took a while. But 18 years later, he was crawling through 500 yards of shit, and then he was a free man down in, however you say that beach in Mexico. So that's the prison warden. This is the moment in the movie when the warden and the guard discover the hole that he had burrowed in the prison walls. So, this is like the people you're racing discovering the moment, oh, so-and-so has been grinding away consistently for 2 years, and they just whooped my butt. God dang it. So they're the prison warden. Moving on.